Hey guys, it's dlwalker back, whole shot. Well, here's Ratzuki's body work. This is about 3 days later. Like I mentioned, the left-hand side was really nice. The right-hand side, I had a big bubble in here. It had a reaction to the, I believe it was the Rust-Oleum primer, and it had some bubbles and some weird crap in here. I had to do a repair, and unfortunately, I don't know if you can see this area, but once the rest of the silver was gassed out and kind of kicked off after about 20 minutes, then I lightly wet sanded this with 600 and then tried to touch it up, but that's what happens with silver. So I thought, hopefully you can see this area right here. See where it's all lighter looking, and then it kind of comes down right here, this little shadow. So two options are try to tape it off, shoot the whole bike again, the silver, try to blend it in. That's pretty hard with rattle cans. So my original intention was to bring the pretty red down here somewhere anyway. So I've taped off about 6 different designs of just getting rid of this area, but then it kind of looked like an afterthought. So the one I like the best so far is what I got right here. So I'm going to continue the red paint line. Hang on, I need a drink of water. You know, that's how it goes when you're doing this. So the red will kind of continue from under the seat, and then this width I like right here. It's about the width I got going here. So everything inside the green lines here is going to be the matching red up here. So I think that's a nice looking design. I think it'll look clean. And you still got a nice thick silver stripe. I tried a little wider, but then this bubbled out part looks like too bulbous, because this being dark is going to kind of go away back here. So this I think is a good compromise. It's not too much red, and that's a subtle red, and I think it'll complete the bike. And so that's what I'm going to go for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet sand the bike outside on a table with the hose running, keep it super wet. I use either a sponge or a wore out purple scuff pad, and I wrap the sandpaper around that, and it gives you a little bit of a cushion so your fingers aren't digging in, kind of like a thin sponge. And you go that direction. I let the paper hang over the end of the scuff pad a little bit, and I just had a good feel for that. If you go sideways, it unwraps, but if you go long ways with the open end hanging over, it stays right on there. You keep everything wet. Another little tip you can do is in your water, if you had a bucket, you could put just a few drops of Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo in it. It makes it even more slippery. But I have the hose. I'm just going to kind of keep it flowing over the whole thing. So I'm going to do the whole thing with 800. That way, wet sand it. Be very careful not to go through. And then it'll be ready for me to retape each side the best I can, you know, so it's consistent on both sides. And then I can shoot this, all the red. Then I can peel, after it kicks off about 30 minutes, I can peel off the tape, and then I'll re-clear coat the whole thing with probably 3 coats of clear again. So there are a few little areas. Let me grab the camera. I'd probably shake around a little bit. I'm grabbing the camera from my buddy Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. There are some areas here, you see, that have some crap in it. I don't know if you can even see that, but there's tiny little things. And so I'm going to knock this down just through the clear coat and just flatten that out a little bit more. And then there's a little overspray here that got under. It's so little, man. I hate to try to touch that up and wreck it. I might just leave that. But there is some spots up here. This is kind of what it did on the side. Yeah, you can see it right there. See that reflection? Right here. See it? But that's got some pretty good clear on it. So I'm going to be very careful. And I'm going to wet sand this and get these little high points out. And try not to go through the black, you know. So we'll see. And then... but that's what I have in mind. So I'll let you know what it looks like, or when I start shooting the paint, I'll make another video. so we keep this one not super long. I got everything set up here outside, so I'm not going to show you wet sanding the whole thing. I'm just going to show you kind of how I found works the best for me. So this is a wore out purple pad. Really, you'd want to use a gray pad. That's the ultra fine 3M, like a scuff pad. But this I saved the worn out ones for this. So yeah, I cut it the right length and I let the paper hang over the end here, and then I just wrap it up in there, and that acts as a thin padding in there so your fingers don't dig in. And then I go like this, and then I'm going this direction sideways. Sometimes I'll do it by accident, it comes unraveled. So anyway, I got the hose here, I got this bucket. It's always good to kind of let your paper soak in here. It kind of softens up the paper and makes it more pliable, believe it or not. So that's pretty much it. On clear, boy, you don't want to go much. You want to keep an eye on it. See that milk? That's your clear. And see my stripe here? I kind of want to stay away from that. I'm going to do that very lightly, and I'm going to do it the direction of the stripe, so you're not going to knock off the edge of the breakthrough. Or here, look up. Now you want to stay away from the edge for now, because you don't want to bust through there. You can feel it. It's still a little rough. And all we're doing right here, where there's no damage, we're just putting a little texture on it with the 800 grit, and that's what you want. They used to do 1000, 1500, but they found that sometimes the clear still doesn't have enough adhesion, so you go to 800, and believe it or not, the 800 fine scratches, when you pour clear on it again, are all gone, and it makes it grab good. After you sand the whole thing that has clear on it, then you want to let the thing sit after you clean it really good with a degreaser made for this. You want to let it sit at least 2 days, because the clear, it opens the pores back up in it. It lets it kind of gas out, and then that's ready for paint or a respray of clear. So like on this stripe, I got to go really easy, go up and down this way. So let me work on a few things. I'm not just going to take a movie this whole thing. There's some little dots up here and this and that. So let me work on it, and then I'll show you it with it further along. Well, guys, I got this side done. I got the top done. There's quite a bit of little specks in there, and I was able to get them all out. So that's what you want. You don't want any orange peel. Like here's just a little bit there, but the seat goes up there, and I didn't want to go through the paint or the clear completely. Haven't done the tail yet, except for some problem areas. This is all dirty now, but if you see that, I hope you can see that in the camera. See the little orange peel there? I'm going to do that next, and see it right here. Right there. Yeah, I got to be careful against that pinstripe. It is cleared. I did break through one little spot. Right there's the yellow. See it? Damn it. So I'll just touch up that little corner. What I'll do is I'll take a brush and just barely get it on the bottom there. Because this, from here, about here forward, here, is still going to be the silver. So got to re-clear, and it'll look better than it did. It'll look like a top of a smooth, wet lake. So I got to do the other side. Haven't started on it yet, but this is the good side. Yeah, see here? Here's your good example of the orange peel. A little bit. Still some crap in the paint, see? Yeah, just a little here. A little orange peel there. It'll cover that. It's still pretty damn smooth. It wasn't that smooth when I did it the first time, and it looked beautiful there. So I thought I'd just show you this step here. All I got to do under here is just kind of rough it up, because you know the seat covers all this. So now I'm going to concentrate on this line, not hurt get the side done, and then work on the tail. So Yeah, that was about an hour and 15 minutes so far. See you soon. Have blower, will travel. So this is about, what do you think, Kurt? 2.5 hours later. Pretty much got the whole thing done. So I'm going to show you now. It's wet. I'm blowing it off with this, and you can see this is what it should look like. If you're going to paint something and you knocked it down with like 400 or 600, in this case this is 800 to re-clear, and that's still okay to paint my red portion. But I'm going to blow this off. You're not going to be able to talk, and I want you to watch the paint line here where it's wet. So requires no orange peel. If there's a little more, I can still do that by hand. That's what you want. Still plenty of clear coat on there. I put 4 coats. I did sand through on the bottom edge a couple little spots. The edges are so easy. You never get as much paint on them or the clear. I'll touch those up. Down where you can't see it. There you go. See those orange peel. Here's a little bit right here. See it proper angle? See? No matter what, it still comes back. So I got to hit that. I'll do that inside by hand. You got to remember, there's still dust on here. I just sprayed it off. So I'll go over with cleaner. And a brand new shop rag, not shop rag, but a microfiber cloth. They work good. They don't leave any lint. Okay, that's about it. I'll show it to you after I wipe it down. Hey guys, one thing I want to cover before the final segment of this video is kind of in general the grit paper you should be using for each particular job of paint work. So if you're prepping a surface for your base coat, you want to use 400. And another thing, you always want to use good paper, either 3M, Norton, or Gator. There's others, but those are the 3 most popular. Don't use cheapo paper. You know, it's just not worth it. It starts coming apart, can get in between when you're sanding and scratch the heck out of everything. So use the name top brands. So for base coat, your original base coat, and prep for like primer, 400. Always wet sand. I already talked about wet sanding and putting the paper in the water and kind of how to wrap it, or use a sponge in between it wrapped. So 400 for base, or also to knock down the primer ready for paint. In this case, what I'm going to do is re-clear over my new over-clear. In that case, 800's the best. I think 3M used to recommend 1000 grit, but they went back to 800. It makes it adhere better to the clear. So that's for reapplying a clear coat. If you have a paint job all done with your clear, and then it sits for a couple weeks or whatever they're recommended by the people that make the clear, then you don't want to use anything under 1500 grit. Usually it's 1500 to 2000. Some guys go up to 3000 and everything, but it isn't needed. So this is to cut and buff, so you're not going to wreck, because what you do, or what you use, is kind of what you're buffing, So I think in general most people use 1500, some people use 2000, and then you do your your cutting and your buffing with your buffer. So, and you know, if you're new to it, and a DA, the one that oscillates like this, buffer. There's some low-cost ones out there if you only use it 2-3 times a year that work just fine. But that's the way to go. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that before we get into the next segment right now. Hey guys, well, it's 8 o'clock. Been and done this about 4 hours now. But anyway, still a few little spots here and there. I'm wet sanding in here. I just used distilled water in a spray bottle. But anyway, now I'm using this. This is what you want to use before you paint. So that's the grease and wax remover. There's several brands, but they have this little Riley. And I'm not painting now, but I'm just going over it now. I'll have to do it again before I paint it. But this is just after you color sand it with all the water and everything. It's, you know, in the pigments of the paint, all the dust, even though you wipe it off, spray it off. So one brand new clean microfiber and another clean microfiber. And that's what it looks like. But it will get every little piece of, it already should be kind of washed with regular water. And I'm going to just go here. So now you can see that wetness? That's what that baby's going to look like with clear now. See how smooth it is? So, set that down. Go over it with a brand new dry one. Costco specials. I buy bags of these things. Okay. So now, take a look at this tail section. And, you know, most of the orange peel's gone. You want to sand all in the same direction. You want to keep it wet. If you do a dry sand, it makes it look different. I did that. Made the mistake because I'm tired and senile. So went back in here and got it all wet and stroked the whole thing, make it all consistent. So anyway, that's how you do it. So we'll end the video at this point, and I'll get back to you when I go ahead and put the red on here like I want to do in that certain spot. So I'll talk to you then. Have a good night.